The Buu Saga lives in infamy in the minds of Dragon Ball fans. Some find it to be the worst of the Dragon Ball Z era, and find plenty to criticize it for, while others adore it for the plethora of new concepts it introduces. One thing that remains consistent regarding the final saga of Dragon Ball Z is that the events that transpire and the events that it introduces remain iconic and ingrained in the very identity of Dragon Ball. My name is Shempazard, and join me as I deep dive into the Buu Saga and what made it so iconic. Before we get into the video, don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment on the video leaving me your thoughts, and hit the subscribe button because you can always change your mind later. The concept of the god hierarchy has long been established in the series since its early days with the introduction of Kami. Naturally, it's expanded over time with the introduction of the afterlife with King Yama and Kao-sama / King Kai himself being introduced in the Saiyan saga. With knowledge of Dragon Ball Super and knowing how vast the hierarchy is now with the Supreme Kais, Gods of Destructions, and Angels and Zeno himself, it becomes easy to forget that the construction of the godly realm was far less significant prior to the Buu Saga. The most we had seen at that point was the Grand Kai and Dragon Ball Z filler, if you want to include that. Early in the Buu Saga, Toriyama would begin to expand on the other worlds of this universe he had created by introducing what was, at that point in the series, the pinnacle of the godly realm and the gods of creation, the Supreme Kais. To drive home to us how significant these beings were on the godly ladder, he first began alluding to them by displaying Piccolo as someone deeply disturbed by their appearance on Earth. Seeing someone of Piccolo's caliber so deeply shaken conveyed that these beings were of extreme importance, gods that watched over the entire universe and sat even above King Kai himself. Through the course of the rest of the Buu Saga, we would be given tidbits that expanded on the lore and inner workings of the Supreme Kais, such as there being one main Kaioshin and how there would be attendants. These attendants being Kais in training, such as a Kibito who would one day take up the mantle of Supreme Kai, their jobs being that of creation and watching over the life in the universe, being why they came to Earth to intervene in the revival of Majin Buu, who once posed a major threat to the universe's safety. We learn how there were once 4 Supreme Kais who served during the battle with Majin Buu. These are concepts that are still vague to this day. At this point in time, Dragon Ball was still conceived as seemingly one universe before Toriyama introduced the concept of many other universes which had their own Supreme Kai. The issue at hand being that none of the other universes introduced in Super had 4 serving Kais as Universe 7 once did, so that could be a small retcon, but it hardly presents an issue. We were also introduced to the Elder Kai, who had served as a Kaioshin long ago. The Buu Saga expanded significantly on the godly realm of Dragon Ball, something that would plant the seeds for further expansion with the arrivals of Beerus and Whis, who revealed just how expansive the world of Dragon Ball truly is. Along with this, we would also be introduced to more about the demons. The concept of magic and demons were nothing new at this point in the series. We have been exposed to beings who were considered demons early in the series with the likes of Demon King Piccolo and his disciples. But the Buu Saga began to expand even further on these beings. Babidi came in as a wizard with extremely powerful magic. While we know little of his and Bibidi's origins, we can see just how powerful their magic truly is. In the original manga, it is stated that Bibidi is the one who created the immensely powerful being known as Majin Buu, a demon through and through. Though Toriyama later retconned this in an interview saying Buu had existed since the beginning of time, so ultimately it's up to you to determine which origin you prefer for Majin Buu. Bibidi and Babidi possess the power to create these powerful beings who could threaten the stability of the universe, frighten the highest gods in existence in the Kais, and even completely bend those with evil in their heart to their will. The most significant example being Deborah, the king of the demon realm. We know little of the demon realm and have seen very little of it, but this also revealed that beings from that universe can be incredibly powerful, as we know Deborah rivals the power of Perfect Cell and went toe-to-toe with Gohan. Dragon Ball Daima seems to be willing to expand on the demon realm, but we did gather what was relatively little insight into this new realm beginning in the Buu Saga. Deborah ended up doing relatively little in the main story before being defeated by Majin Buu, but he did serve as a good introduction to new concepts regarding the demon realm, such as them having a king, some of their abilities, and how powerful some of them can become. Also, knowing that Babidi, being able to force someone as powerful as Deborah to serve him completely, worked as a successful method to demonstrate to us how powerful Babidi's magic truly is. And I couldn't make this video without of course discussing Majin Vegeta's sacrifice, also known as his final atonement. You can't discuss iconic events from the Buu Saga without discussing perhaps the most iconic aspect of Vegeta, his time as Majin Vegeta. After exposing a small portion of the darkness in his heart, Babidi preyed on Vegeta to bend him to his will. Though we know Vegeta ultimately allowed this to happen to gain a power boost to try to bridge the gap between him and Goku. Majin Vegeta has become the favorite version of Vegeta to many in this fandom due to the many significant character moments that happens for Vegeta in this relatively short time period. Seeing Vegeta revert to his evil ways provided many iconic lines, expressions, and bits of pieces of art and animation that remain highly regarded so many years later. But another aspect of what makes this series of events so iconic is that it's up the finale of Vegeta's final character arc in the series. His journey to overcome his remaining demons and become a fully redeemed individual compared to the ruthless Saiyan warrior he once was. Vegeta is one of the most well-liked characters in the series, and this character arc and his badass moments as Majin Vegeta greatly contribute to that fact. The introduction of Majin Vegeta set up the long-awaited rematch between Vegeta and Goku. It served to display that Vegeta wasn't fully yet redeemed, and so had a few less hurdles to overcome. In the original Funimation dub for Dragon Ball Z, it set up iconic lines fans still reference to this day, such as "One thing a Saiyan always keeps is his pride." There remain so many references to this section of Dragon Ball Z that it can't be understated, but it also led to what is perhaps Vegeta's most iconic character moment, and one of the most significant events in the entire series. It also contributes to an event that contributes to just how iconic this saga has truly become. Vegeta's final explosion is among many fans' lists of their favorite moments in the series, including mine. Vegeta finally setting aside his selfish ambition, putting his life on the line, and sacrificing himself to save his family from the evil presented by Majin Buu is Vegeta's character arc come full circle. As Piccolo says, for the first time Vegeta is fighting on behalf of someone other than himself. Something Vegeta expands upon in his "Hang in there Kakarot, you're number one" line to Goku later in the saga. But in addition to that, the line from Vegeta, "Bulma, Trunks, I do this for you, and yes, even you Kakarot," and its many variations remain among the most referred to lines in the series' illustrious history. The shot of Vegeta smiling before he unleashes his final explosion remains one of my favorite pieces of art in the original series. From the narrative impact for Vegeta's character depth and development, to awesome moments and iconic lines, Majin Vegeta is without a doubt one of the most well-regarded and iconic iterations of a character in the entire series. It would be blasphemy to not mention it in a video such as this. And it wouldn't be Dragon Ball if we didn't talk about the new power-ups, and this means I'm going to talk about the ever-controversial Super Saiyan 3. New power-ups are a staple of the Dragon Ball franchise. This series is known for its plethora of transformations after all, and this one had no shortage of that. This first one has proven to be quite controversial as it's a form that is iconic to many, but also has its fair share of detractors who refer to it as a useless transformation. But no matter if you like it or hate it, it deserves a mention here, and that is Super Saiyan 3. Used by Goku and Gotenks, Super Saiyan 3 was a form introduced out of seemingly nowhere as a method for Goku to level the playing field against Majin Buu. What makes this form stand out at first is its vast design departure compared to the previous Super Saiyan forms. While Super Saiyan was often presented as just the user's hair standing up and turning yellow, Super Saiyan 3 was presented in a much different manner, with extremely long hair and no eyebrows being the most notable differences. This alone makes it unique and highly memorable. In the English-speaking world, those exposed to the original Funimation dub find it iconic due to the nature of the transformation scene. Goku transforming in the Dragon Ball Z anime is a very extended scene, lasting a long time with a soundtrack dedicated just to that form called the SS3 theme by Julian Dobos of Faulkner Productions at the time. This is one of the most recognizable themes from the English dub that is synonymous with Goku's lengthy transformation sequence. In the other versions of Dragon Ball, the transformation theme has different OSTs, but it is extremely long and presented with Goku undergoing a lot to transform in an attempt to convey the scale of power of the form, with Goku literally shaking various areas of the planet. Gotenks also used it to do battle with Super Buu, and while I'd say the form is more synonymous with Goku, I still found it worth mentioning here. Another power-up which became more of a transformation of Dragon Ball Super is Ultimate Gohan. This became the most infamous version of Gohan, alongside his Super Saiyan 2 state versus Perfect Cell, and remaining his most powerful form until Dragon Ball Super's Superhero. Ultimate Gohan is instantly recognizable as it is to many their favorite iteration of Gohan. It's also well known for certain lines of dialogue spoken by Gohan shortly after debuting this power, such as "Fight you? No, I'm going to kill you," often being cited as a fan favorite. It was also demonstrated as being extremely powerful, as while every other fighter up to this point had their hands full fending off the demon, Gohan completely overpowered this form of Majin Buu to the point he had to resort to absorbing others to balance the scales. This established Gohan as the strongest non-fused character in the Buu Saga, surpassing the likes of Super Buu, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks by wide margins. Other names for the form like Mystic Gohan, which is a fan-made term, also remains often cited to this very day, showing that the state of being became relevant enough to receive multiple titles to properly convey that it was Gohan's absolute peak for a very long time. And of course, we have to talk about what was perhaps the most legendary thing to come out of the Buu Saga in Dragon Ball, and that is, of course, we have to talk about fusion. Fusion is infamous in the Dragon Ball franchise. Gogeta and Vegito have become fan-favorite characters, and the moments they are introduced are considered some of the hypest moments in the series, and this all began in the Buu Saga. Goku introduced the fusion dance, the Metamoran art of having two individuals fused together to create a new individual. The fusion dance is iconic in pop culture and is often represented in a variety of ways you may have seen. The method of fusion requiring such a specific set of poses is also what makes it so unique. But the most loved part of the fusion dance is how it combined two people together to create someone new for fans to sink their teeth into. Creating a new character from two separate people, only temporarily, is such a fun idea. But Gotenks, while with his fans, pales in comparison to Gogeta. Gogeta was first introduced in Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn, where we see Goku and Vegeta use the fusion dance for the very first time. Gogeta, from the moment he debuted, captured the attention of many, being presented in a badass way while exuding an aura of overwhelming power and then dispatching the mighty Janemba with absolute ease with his iconic technique. The Soul Punisher, also known as the Stardust Breaker, all contributed to making this character massively popular. Gogeta fans often cite one reason they love him being his direct attitude and wasting no time to get the job done approach. Plus, he just looks cool. Now, Gogeta wasn't even in the Buu Saga, but the introduction of the fusion dance did plant the seeds for his arrival in both that movie and in Dragon Ball Super Broly, so I thought it worth mentioning. But one thing the Buu Saga did introduce was another fan favorite, Vegito, and the method of Potara fusion. The Buu Saga introduced two different methods of merging individuals together, the first being the fusion dance, and the second being the Potara earrings, the earrings worn by the Supreme Kais themselves. When put on opposing ears, they merged two individuals together permanently, at least that was the rules of the fusion at the time. The earrings themselves have become popular, but the character they created is also infamous in Vegito. For several episodes, we saw Super Vegito clash with Majin Buu, who had absorbed the likes of Gohan, Piccolo, Trunks, and Goten, and had grown incredibly powerful. Vegeta was presented as being unmatched in strength, far surpassing the Majin in every conceivable way. His popular techniques, such as the Spirit Sword and his absolute decimation of Buu, helped contribute to his popularity. Even his techniques from the video games, which he ultimately used in Dragon Ball Super, like the final Kamehameha, a combination of Goku's Kamehameha and Vegeta's final Flash, has also grown quite popular. What supports Vegeta's popularity is the hype that stormed the internet in the lead up to his reintroduction in Dragon Ball Super. Fusion has become an incredibly popular technique among Dragon Ball fans, with Gogeta and Vegito becoming among the most popular characters in the series. This is further proven when games like Dokkan Battle present them as headliners for lore celebrations, as the hype these characters bring cannot be understated. The Buu Saga, introducing these concepts, played an important role not just in the story then, but in future events as well. And the last topic that makes the Buu Saga so iconic that I want to explore is the climactic final battle on the World of the Kais. The climactic final battle on the World of the Kais was extremely eventful and remains what I consider to be a great final clash to end off a series such as Dragon Ball. It presented two rivals in Goku and Vegeta finally working side by side to face off against an extremely powerful foe who had proved near unbeatable every turn up until this point. Seeing them finally work together was a long time coming and showed that their rivalry had evolved from one of bitter jealousy on Vegeta's part to a more friendly one as presented in Dragon Ball Super. It also assisted in bringing Vegeta's character arc full circle, with him finally acknowledging his shortcomings that had held him back for so long in his speech acknowledging Goku. Seeing him finally acknowledging Goku as stronger than him in that particular moment, and examining his many flaws that made him so reckless all contributed to him finally being considered redeemed, which is further established by the Dragon Balls reviving him when the wish specified only people that aren't evil be revived. This final battle also brought Mr. Satan's character full circle, as his progression from a cowardly fraud to being crucial in Buu's defeat and overcoming his fears of being involved in confrontation beyond his scope was fun to watch. His speech to the people of Earth and convincing them to lend Goku their energy remains among my favorite moments from the entire Buu Saga, and Dragon Ball as a whole. Mr. Satan was first introduced as more of a comedic relief character in the Cell Saga, but seeing him befriend Buu and show him the error of his ways, and working with Goku and Vegeta to defeat the final evil, helped Toriyama make him into an extremely useful character who played a vital role in the key events of the Buu Saga. But I think one of the main themes that makes the final battle on the World of the Kais so memorable is unity, and everyone coming together to defeat a near unstoppable threat in Majin Buu. For a long time, Goku and the others had fought villains such as Cell, which rarely resulted in them protecting the people of Earth. Against Buu, Goku couldn't defeat him alone with just energy from his friends and family. It wasn't going to be enough. Vegeta himself acknowledged it's finally time for the people of Earth to fight for themselves for once, with Mr. Satan persuading them and all the people of Earth being presented as necessary to build a strong enough spirit bomb to defeat Buu, conveyed that everyone needed to come together to defeat this great threat. And it succeeded. The final climactic battle of Dragon Ball resulted in everyone, not just Goku, working together to overcome that final threat, which I think is poetic as everyone played a vital role. There are many ways to wrap up a fight. Toriyama had done it in a variety of ways throughout his manga, but I think presenting his final climactic fight being one of unity and collaboration made it all the more memorable. The Buu Saga is an incredibly memorable saga, even though some people don't like it all that much. It has a lot of flaws that people heavily criticize, and that's fair, but many people also love it for a variety of reasons. Because it has so many things to love. Everybody loves Fusion, everybody loves Ultimate Gohan. It gave us the likes of Gotenks, Vegito, and Gogeta, many fan favorite characters. And it gave us cool transformations like Ultimate Gohan. Super Saiyan 3, which is also very controversial, but it's a form I've also personally always loved. But it also gave us Super Saiyan 3, which is a form I've always loved despite how controversial it is. Even though the Buu Saga did some things wrong, it also remained an incredibly fun saga. And it was a great way for Toriyama to really wrap up his final climactic battle in the series. Though the series didn't end just there, and it did go on to show a little bit of Goku vs. Zoob, as the final battle with Kid Buu in the World of the Kais was the Goku and Vegeta facing the final true threat of Dragon Ball, up until Dragon Ball Super at the very least. Introduced so many themes that remain so iconic in Dragon Ball and even pop culture to this very day, and I think it remains a great way to conclude the series. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. What do you think of the Buu Saga? Do you like it? Do you love it? What are some of your favorite moments of it? Do you agree with any of the points I made here today? Let me know. Don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. My name is Champazard. Thank you so very much for watching the video. Please consider hitting the subscribe button, as you can always change your mind later. And I'll see you next time.